All right, Coach Pron, 2 days down. Yesterday was probably the hottest day that you could think of. Today was more like winter compared to yesterday in terms of the heat. But, you know, that's built-in adversity. Those are uncontrollables. What did you find out about your guys just through the 2 different days that you've had and things you can't control?
Yeah, it was a beautiful day out today. I mean, this feels like a nice week 5 practice right here. But I think it shows a lot about the guys that throughout the summertime, we did a great job across the board getting ready for the season. But I think it shows the guys too where it's like up top mentally, like, I don't care. Like, you're not taking my reps. Oh, you don't want reps? I'm going to take them. So I think, to be brutally honest with you, we found a couple guys that we know for sure going into this fall are foxhole guys on this unit. Guys that like, hey, I'll go take 8 straight reps yesterday when it's 95 degrees with 88% humidity or whatever it is and don't care. You can't get me off the field. And then, you know, today it was good to see guys bounce back. You bounce back sometimes gets used as a term as like yesterday was a bad day, but it was a great opportunity for our guys to come out, compete from the start of practice to the end of practice, which I think we had to clean up a little bit from yesterday. And I think you saw that. Started a little slow with the no huddle period out the gate, but then kind of turned it on in team and Scally and team. And it was good to see guys fly around. There was a lot more energy. I'm not going to give that credit to the weather or not. I think it's credit to our guys that they were able to kind of answer the bell and be like, hey, this is what this unit's going to look like this year.
Coach Hill described to us yesterday that, yes, hey, what we show our fans and everything right now during your practice time, look, that is no doubt a very important time that you get. But it's a time away from here. It's in the office. It's the film, the position meetings, etc. What do you try to do within those meetings, within the times that you get with the guys outside of your time here that is a good indicator to you of, hey, we're going in the right direction here, or, hey, I may need to restructure some things to make sure we're getting on track?
Yeah, so a couple things. That's actually an awesome question, by the way. But a couple things we're doing is, so I, like a lot of coaches, come from like a true teaching background. I went to school, got my degree in physical education and health. Thought I was going to be a PE health teacher back in Arcadia, Wisconsin, coach high school football, high school baseball. Lived the dream until I found out all people did was coach college football. But when you have that teaching background, you got to understand that at all times, like you're saying, there's so much more that goes into it than people realize than just coming out, practicing, going home, coming back the next day and doing it. Where everyone we have in our rooms, everyone we have in our units, us coaches, we're all different style learners. We have some guys who are physical learners that have to come out, do walkthroughs, step-throughs in the rooms, and be able to physically do it for it to be able to be relayed in their head and be able to truly understand it. You got guys who are great whiteboard learners, who want to see it drawn up, talk through, explain. You got guys that are just big visual learners, want to watch it on tape, see different pictures. Guys that do a great job coming out and being verbal learners. Like I know myself, I'm not a great verbal learner. If someone's like starts talking to me about a bunch of different words and even in football, and it's like let me draw that up quick on my piece of paper. Like you'll see my piece of paper at practice all day, like drawing up formations for guys and stuff, because I'm a visual learner. So that's our job as coaches. Understand, like my room specifically in the safety room is we're a big visual and we're big physical learners. We do a really good job when we can see stuff on the whiteboard, see stuff on tape, and then being able to step through stuff, whether that's in the office, out on the field, and that's how we learn best. And I think the one big things we've changed this offseason too is the amount of unit meeting time we're doing. And I think it's for the cohesiveness and what we're about. And we talked about it on whatever, I think that was Tuesday with the guys. This is the closest I've felt the group of guys in a long time. And there's a true unconditional love for one another in that room. And for us to all get in there and show essentially the good, the bad, the ugly, and have guys grow together, understand that this is getting coached. This is the standard. This is how we fix this. This is how we shine a positive light on good plays. This is where we're falling short. And this is, you guys see this in front of the whole room, like I fell short on this play because I didn't run to the ball. And so I think that's been really good improvements for us this year.
Defensively, where do you believe the unit is at in terms of embracing your personality and showing it on the field?
Tom kind of asked the question similar, and it's one of those things where I get the young guy, tag a lot, and I think there's 2 ways you can look at experience. People talk about experience, and it's like, oh, I've done that job for a while, so I've got experience at it. I like to think of experience as what you've done while you've done it. You know, this is going into fall camp 8 for me as a coach, which seems like a lot, but then you look at some other guys, and it's like, that's not a lot at all. And so it's being able to use those strengths to be a strength. Like the ability to relate to these guys, be a little closer in age. Like I think I'm only 4 or 5 years older than P. Reeves and C. Reeves and some of those guys on the team. And so I think that ability to have a connection and be able to relate to these guys on a true face-to-face, day-to-day basis has really helped that buy-in process. And then it comes back to our defensive staff, coaching staff, and everyone we have in here. Coach Mead, Alex in nutrition, Zach in strength, like all those guys, just the bought in and everyone living it out. You know, Coach Mack, Coach Moore, Coach Davis, those guys live it. And so it's become a thing where at first it was like, hey, like buy into this, and now we're to the point where guys are like, no, this is how it's done. This is how we do things. Like step into line, fall into line, because this is how we operate.
It was a topic that Coach Poor, Mike Trude, and I were talking about after day one of looking at your defense and saying, man, you know, when you lose guys like Anubaid Steed, when you lose Iverson Brown, guys who were not just huge in your position group room, but big on the team in so many areas, people may go, man, what are you going to do? But it's also, hey, that's a great opportunity for a lot of guys within your room. What have you seen here early in camp, and especially leading back to the spring and the summer, of guys trying to reach and take that opportunity that's there? Because there are voids that need to be filled.
Yeah, I think the really cool part is we have a really good blend of guys that have either in the last 8 months transferred in, either at mid-year or this summer, and guys that have been here and just making the most out of it. None of them might have the tag of returning starter and what it might be, but like safety room, for example, we got a couple guys that are homegrown in there, guys that have been a part of the program for 3+ years. And you look at some programs in the Missouri Valley that consistently at the top, that's how those guys are doing it. It's guys that are in the program, and there's always an outside noise that's worried about, hey, we don't have a returning starter at this position, maybe we didn't get someone in the portal, all that. But in-house, we understand the development piece, the time and resources that these guys are putting into it, we're putting into them. And there's not a room in the defense right now where it's like, shoot, like we missed on something or we should have done a better job in high school recruiting or portal recruiting. It's all comes down to development. That's the 12-month approach into college football that I think some people are losing sight of. But you have that time, and you get to make the most of it. And I'm really excited for a lot of these faces on the defense that I think you guys kind of mentioned, because I'm a big listener, but that guys that have been around the program, guys that have maybe had a special teams role or 15 to 20 snaps a game on the unit are now going to be able to step into a really big role, and it's going to be really fun to watch those guys have their opportunity.
As a coach, it's always probably kind of easy to see areas where you need to improve, because that's what you harp on with your guys. What are some of those areas right now that, hey, you know they're making strides, they are improving, but areas where like, you know what it takes to win in this league and win at a high level, things that you harp on all the time, constantly?
Yeah, I think a big one for us right now is pre-snap, post-snap communication. I think if you went to any practice in the U.S. right now and walked off the field after practice 3 and you had a defensive coordinator tell you that you got an excellent communicating group, like one of two things: either you have no communication or you don't. You know, like, so that's something we got to continue. And a lot of that's tip of the ball cap to Coach Hill and the offensive staff and what they do. That we get a lot of looks, we get a lot of moving pictures, and it's beautiful because we bank these reps of hard shift trade motion, hard pictures with DJ being as athletic as he is and the talent he has around him in the offensive line. They can do so much good stuff, but it allows for us to bank a lot of really good reps because, as you kind of touched on, we see a lot of really good offenses in this league. There's some of the best offensive coordinators in college football, not just Missouri Valley, not just FCS, and all of college football in this league. And so for us to get those looks and get to go against, I think, one of the also brightest offensive minds there is in Coach Hill, it allows for our guys to bank those reps. And so we got to continue to clean up the communication, and then there's the harping on the ball. I think today we did a better job. I think I finished the day with a couple takeaways, but that's something that obviously offense is stressing not giving the ball up. We're stressing taking it away, so there's going to be a little rubber meets the road, a little headbutting on that. But continuously, we know teams that win in the plus and the turnover battle, like we got to continue to harp on that, and then just continuing to make sure our identity's showing up, and we got 11 hats showing up at the ball at all times.
Final question to you. It's not one of those, it's not a guy that you coach every day. He's not even on your side of the ball, but you've seen a lot of football. In your eyes, when you get the opportunity to go up against DJ Williams in practice, what do you believe is a separating factor of his that just really makes him him, and why you're very excited that he's not on an opposing scouting report.
It's fun. Me and DJ got a pretty good relationship because it's a little back and forth once in a while, but it's also something I've seen some of my mentors have too. Where as a defensive coordinator, I think it's important to have a really good relationship with the quarterback and be able to kind of bounce some ideas off of him and be like, hey, like, this is kind of where we're getting you a little bit with maybe some post-snap rotation or pre-snap rotation, and the same thing. He can be like, hey, Pron, when I see this, like, I know I'm getting this picture, and that's why I'm picking you apart. And so I think it's his what's up top, and that's so hard to measure, and sometimes you only know that when you're in the building with the young man, and was fortunate enough to be around a couple good ones up there in 21 as well. But he has it up top. Like, he's a football junkie. He's in the office all the time. Get watching tape, Coach Hill, they're watching different quarterbacks. He's seeing where he can, and then you throw on what he does on the field. And it's one of those things. We go into defensive unit meetings, and it's like, yeah, we like to think we tagged off on the hip right there and got him down. It's like, boys, you know, we saw it. DJ's still running. Like, so then you throw in that, like, can run like a deer and throw like a rocket. So but it's up top, and just his maturity too. You don't see that in a lot of young men that are able to be themselves shamelessly and love one another and try to truly bring out the best in those around them. I think it's a very underrated skill trait.
We going for the Joe Dirt mullet for the year?
I think it's a little bit of just like, you know, my brothers. Shout out Kyle and Eric. They're both kind of losing their hair right now, so getting closer to that 30 each year. Yes. So it's like we got to see if we have it a little bit still. So just let it go a little bit for the time being.